Hello, good evening, and welcome to the Football Terrace. Do not adjust your screens. Terry has not grown some hair and got much better looking. This is Gav from the LFCDaytrippers, and I am your host tonight for that Liverpool podcast. There's loads of people in the comments. All stay there, all hit the like button, all do all that stuff, and give us all your comments as well. And who have I got? Well, you can see on screen who I have Stro, I have Alex, I have Bizzo, and I have Grizz for the next hour or so, talking all things LFC and other clubs as well, I suppose, if we really want to. Stro, I'm going to come to you first, my man. How are you?
Good, you.
I'm in great form, yeah. I'm in great form. But more importantly, how are you?
Nah, I'm good, man. Good, man. Baby's asleep, nice and settled, so yeah,
Good stuff, good
in a
stuff.
good mood.
And Liverpool are still champions. You checked this morning, and they're still champions.
Yeah, still champions, so happy as
Happy
ever.
days. Yeah, you're always smiling, ain't you? Every time I say it to you. And listen, I'm going to ask you the first question, and I'm going to start with Jordan Henderson because it annoys people, and I like doing that from time to time. So, Jordan Henderson was announced the Football Writers Association Player of the Year, and it caused an awful lot of problems and issues and stuff like that. And listen, it's probably being talked to death, but I just want to talk about it a little bit more because I haven't spoken to probably 3 years about this. I've spoken to Grizz about it, but for you, Stro, can you understand the outrage, especially towards the fact that Kevin De Bruyne didn't get it, or do you just feel that overall Jordan Henderson, as a player, as a man, as the influence he had over his Liverpool side in a 99-point season, deserves it?
Nah, he 100% deserves it, and this is the thing. Obviously, I live in Manchester. The amount of City fans that were kicking off because Kevin De Bruyne didn't win this award, and well, Liverpool always get the awards. Raheem Sterling won this exact same award last season, so it's like, what are you moaning for? And listen, to be honest, is Kevin De Bruyne going to win PFA Player of the Year? Probably, but you look at what Henderson's done and the impact he has on us when he's not in the team. Just not even that, just off the field. He was the first captain and the one who started the whole initiative for the NHS, and his leadership off the field. And I mean, you've seen it with Minamino the other day when you see Minamino just stood at the back of the trophy lift and stuff like that, and Henderson drags him to the front and gets him involved. Like, he's a leader, he's a captain. And if you watch the interview, obviously I've seen the Lallana interview, and the interview with the players, when they talk about him, like, they can't speak highly enough of him. Every single one of him talks him up because of what he does for him on the field and what he does off the field. So yeah, 100% deserves it. Unbelievable captain.
Yeah, I think he's been amazing. I think I'm going to be honest. I think it makes it a bit sweeter, simply because of the fact the abuse he gets from Liverpool fans. Never mind anybody else. The fact that he gets abuse off Liverpool fans, I think, made it a little bit more, a little bit sweeter. Biz, I'm going to come to you next. For me, he's been. I'd have him or Mane as player of the year. I don't think Kevin De Bruyne should be in the conversation. I'm being honest with you. He's part of it. He's part of a side worth an astonishing amount of money that lost something like 9 league games, and I just think he is a brilliant player. Don't get me wrong, but I don't get all the fume at all.
With Kevin De Bruyne.
With Henderson getting this award.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think it was fully deserved. You've got to have someone influential like that in your team, and for years he's been told that he's not that person. He's never going to fill Henderson's shoes. He's never going to be the like a true Liverpool captain. And he's look what he's achieved in the last year. It's incredible, really. That team's gone from strength to strength, and he's been there the whole step of the way. So I think I give every credit to him for winning that award. Definitely, I think he's fully deserved that award, 100%.
I couldn't agree more with you, Alex. For you, I presume you've done a bit on this over the last couple of days as well. He just deserves it. It's as simple as that, isn't it?
Yeah, well, I think what people are up in arms about is if he won the Players Player of the Year award, that in my opinion would be reserved this season for someone like a De Bruyne or a Mane or Van Dijk, and then you wouldn't really have a gripe about it. But what we've got to distinguish here is this is the Writers' Award, and these are the guys that are all about writing stories. And if you watch Hendo or if you've been in Anfield watching Hendo play, writing about him for the last 3 years, you kind of can't help but be drawn into the whole story around it of how he was so low and he's brought us all back up. And I think what he's done on and off the pitch this season is sensational. And I think the writers look at it from more of a story point of view rather than is he the best player, because all of us here can admit he's not the best player in the league. But I think it's the story around Hendo, especially what he's done off the pitch as well. He's just an absolute saint of a man, to be honest.
A lot of people are asking where Terry is. He's not here tonight. He's let us come on. He is watching, and he'd give out to us if we do anything wrong. But
he's probably sitting in his pool, to be fair.
Yeah, he could be filling up the pool. He could be filling up the pool. You never know, because he does have an Olympic-sized swimming pool out the back of the house. So, you know, he could be just filling that up and getting it ready for the winter months. And we don't know. Grizz, Jordan Henderson, me and you have spoken about this loads of times, but I want to move on with you and start you off with Jurgen Klopp being LMA manager of the season. Alex Ferguson, of course, handed over the perch and gave it back during the week. But it was a brilliant story, wasn't it, Grizz? The whole thing around it, obviously in winning the trophy, but the way and the award, but the way Ferguson, I thought Ferguson was brilliant in it.
I thought it was a touch of class. I thought it was one of the highlights of the season. When he tells the story about Klopp ringing him 3:30 in the morning. How much is that Klopp? That is so Klopp. I mean, we can all imagine us doing it to each other, like wind each other up 3:30 in the morning.
Yeah.
Hi Alex, I've just won, whatever. But can you imagine these two sort of elite managers, right? And it just shows the human side of them, which is so appealing to Liverpool and all football fans. That the everyday guys, normal guys, and you can just so imagine Jurgen Klopp calling him up and fucking and saying, "We won the league, you fucking wanker!" Amazing. Alex took it really well. You could tell the way Alex responded. He was really cool about it and made a joke about it. I'm sure he wasn't at the time, 3:30 in the morning. But yeah, no, it was a lovely touch from Alex Ferguson and Klopp's just a man, isn't he? Klopp deserved it. There was never a doubt what he's done to this team. What he's done. I mean, Jordan Henderson is a perfect example of what Klopp can do to people. Yeah. I mean, we all know Jordan. We're all Liverpool fans. But yet we'll all say Jordan Henderson isn't the most gifted footballer, even in the Liverpool team. Yet he's just sort of, Klopp has moulded him into this amazing leader, inspired him to become captain of the team that's champions of Europe, champions of the world, champions of Premier League. Amazing.
He has been amazing for the club. There's been no doubt about it. Stro, Klopp has been the squad he's built over the last couple of years, and especially the way he's managed them throughout this season. And then obviously everyone had the pandemic to deal with, but he got them through that. And now he didn't have much to do after that. In fairness, City failed at Chelsea, and we only needed 4 points when we got back. But when you look at it, like, he's just had an incredible season. And also, is there anybody else out there that you thought, if not Klopp, it could be this person? Because you have to have some sort of nominations. Who else has impressed you this season?
Firstly, just to touch on the Fergie thing, obviously living in Manchester, like, I remember when Fergie was leaving, basically he talked Klopp up to basically wanted Klopp to replace him, and then when we got him the season after, Fergie basically came out in an interview and said that he's worried because he knows what kind of a manager Klopp is, and he can imagine him bringing the good times back to Liverpool. And listen, that's exactly what he's done. And yeah, complete touch of class from Fergie, like, unbelievable, man. And you can tell there's a real respect between them. Back to the question, Chris Wilder, he's the one that stands out for me. I thought it was unfortunate, the break-in and everything that went on with that, because Sheffield United, when they came back, weren't the same team. They didn't have the same momentum, and it was a real shame, because for me they were really pushing on for the top four. But to come up from the Championship, and listen, we've seen Wolves do it last year, but Wolves had an abundance of money. Sheffield United didn't. Sheffield United just had an identity, a style of play. They stuck to it. Unbelievably drilled down to a man. The two overlapping centre backs. It was really entertaining to watch. I mean, listen, you look at the strike force. They've got Billy Sharp, McGoldrick, Ollie McBurney. Like, they're not star players. They're not standout strikers. And to get where they were in the first season of the Premier League is absolutely phenomenal. So if it wasn't Klopp, it had to be Chris Wilder for me.
Okay. Chris Wilder does a great job. He ends up in 9th by the end of it. Alex, is there anybody that impressed you other than Klopp? And obviously a few words on Klopp if you want.
I mean, listen, just watch. It means everything. That's all I've got to say on the matter, to be honest. Completely with Stro though. Chris Wilder for me. Funnily enough, going on Grizz's story there about Klopp phoning up Fergie at 3:30. I used to. This is funny, weird story, but I used to know John Watson through my mum and family, friends, and that. And I interviewed him once, and then he gave me his phone number, and I was at uni, and it was about 4 a.m, and someone dared me to ring him up and pretend to be Michael Owen to ask him if he could redo his Argentina '98 commentary down the phone.
Fucking hell.
Did he do it?
I was like, John, Michael there. Yeah, mate, I was just wondering, mate, if you I'll do that replay of the old commentary there, John. Sorry to wake you up on that stuff. Yeah, mate, it's great. Obviously, just blocked my number straight away, but it was worth it, though.
Of course he did.
Yeah,
John Watson isn't taking that shit off nobody.
Watson. Yeah, well, we used to write love letters to my mum, so that's we're gonna play that game, Gav.
Yeah, no problem. If you want to tell the world that John Watson once wrote love letters to your mother, that's absolutely up to you. All right, okay. After quite enough start, it's now kicked off. God, I'd love to read some of them letters now.
I told you. What did I say beforehand?
I can't remember. All I can think of is John Watson in that sheepskin coat now writing letters to your mother. So I don't know where to go with that. No, I was saying to you about Jurgen Klopp and obviously other managers in the league that have impressed you this year.
Yeah, I think Wilder for me is sensational, to be honest. Like, what I love about Mourinho, he's such an attention seeker, because when Wilder beats them 3-0, Wilder's doing his interview, getting hyped up and a lot of credit as he deserved. Mourinho just butts in and gives him a good slap on the back and says, well done, like, steals his limelight. Do you know what I mean? It's just typical Mourinho. Then Wilder goes, class act him, just lost 3-0, he's patting me on back. So,
yeah.
And he's just kissing his ass. So, yeah, Wilder for me all day, every day.
Bizzo, words on Klopp, obviously, but is there a show for Frank Lampard?
Yeah, I was literally going to mention Frank Lampard. I think from what he's had to walk into as Chelsea manager, which no other Chelsea manager in the last 10, 15 years has had to walk into, and do the job that he's done, and probably achieve everything that the board expected him to achieve. I think he deserves a lot of credit, Frank Lampard, to be honest. I think Sean Dyche is a very underrated manager as well in the league, with a defensive record that he's had all season, and they get absolutely no money to spend. Burnley, they literally scraping the bottom of the barrel, aren't they? Most seasons, and doing dodgy deals here, left, right, and centre. But I think he should be up there. But yeah, Frank Lampard.
Oh, he's gone off.
Done really.
And we get him back in a second.
Really well.
Sorry, there he is.
Oh, yeah.
Come on, you're back yet?
Yeah, Frank Lampard for me. I think he deserves every credit for where he's got Chelsea to finish. He's in a cup final. They play good football. Yeah, and he's brought through some really good young players as well, especially English ones as well, which he deserves credit for, especially with that system where Chelsea normally have 70 players on loan at Vitesse Arnhem or wherever it is in Holland. Yeah. He's the one for me, definitely.
Yeah, and I think looking at it, a lot was made of his touchline. I don't know, argument with Jurgen Klopp. Well, it wasn't an argument. He was like a petulant child giving out, and the father just standing there going, "Listen, shut up now, or you'll know about it when you get home." But no, I think it's fair with the transfer ban he had and stuff like that. I think it was a difficult job for Lampard, and to get them into fourth place in FA Cup. An FA Cup final, obviously, and they were unfortunate just to come across Bayern Munich in the Champions League. Let's be honest, Bayern Munich are looking ridiculously good this season. Grizz, the COVID and the pandemic and stuff has put a little bit of a hold on Kirby and the move to Kirby, this new state-of-the-art training centre that we're going to have, where we'll have the first team and the academy joining up. We're going to stay at Melbourne for a little while. Is that a wise decision for you? Because the club say that they want to make this transition as seamless as possible. You don't want to be rushing into these things. I know it sounds a bit trivial, but you don't want to be rushing in, do you?
No, of course you don't. It's going to be integral for the players in terms of how they're sort of acclimatized into the club with roll into one. It's a bit bad timing, isn't it? This COVID's just been a bit of a pain in the ass for all of us, isn't it? Especially Liverpool in terms of all our plans and for the training complex, for our transfer strategy, no fans in the stadium. So yeah, this is just one of those things that will be looked into and leave it to the decision makers to make the best decision. And we know we're run very well. We're probably one of the best run club in the world, and the decision, whatever decision they take, when to move, will be the right one. But going back to the managers you was talking about in terms of who deserve credit, as Terry's not here, I'm going to take his place, kind of, and say,
same here.
If Ole wins the Europa and finishes third with United,
yeah, great show.
I think he's done an amazing job there. I'm not going to lie. He's walked into similar to what Grizz said about Chelsea and Lampard in terms of team that's sort of lopsided, not everyone's on the same page in terms of wanting to stay there, some wanting to leave, a bit of disharmony, etc. But he's done a decent job, man. He's done a very decent job. Also, my elder brother Nuno, he's done a decent job at Wolves as well. He deserves a shout.
You're younger brother.
Older brother. Get it right, Gav. Older brother.
Definitely.
But yeah, he's done a good job. But Chris Wilder's the standout, isn't he? He shouldn't be up there with the players he's got. There's no right for Sheffield United to be up there amongst the boys. It's just pure, brilliant coaching, very underrated coach, and with a bunch of players that not household names as some of you've mentioned, especially some of those defenders. I think a lot of clubs could do with some of those centre backs. I know, like the likes of Arsenal and Chelsea, looking for centre backs and all, like sort of always looking abroad and looking for like these fancy names, 70, 80 million. But I tell you what, some of those centre backs at Sheffield United and Wolves could do a very decent job for a lot of Premier League teams.
Georgie 1 foot LCFC says Andy Rogers deals law. Is that a loss? I hope it is. I'm completely anti Brendan Rodgers after what happened last Sunday. He should be sacked as Leicester City manager, or at least offer up his resignation. And if you want to argue that with me, I'm here all day, every day. It was an absolute fucking disgrace what he done with that club between January and July.
Embarrassing.
It was outrageous, and me and Grizz have had a big long argument over this on air and off air, and I'm still not over it. The arrogance of the man to think he could do to think he could stroll through the Premier League from January, and his inability to react to the situation was absolutely appalling. But listen, that's just my view. If people want to disagree, yeah, go ahead. Leicester finished 5th, says Georgie. I understand that. But they were 15 points clear.
You don't understand that. That's the point.
I completely do. No, I do. I read the league and they finished 5th.
They did not finish 7th, 8th, 9th. They finished 15 places above.
They had a 15-point head start on January the 4th.
No, they made that head start. They didn't get head start. Those 15 points weren't given to them. They earned that 15-point lead, and then they blew it, which is their right to do so.
Oh, it's not right. Yeah. I'm sure Brendan went into the boardroom on Monday morning and said, "Listen, it's my right to bottle this and throw it away if I want to." But listen, it's all about debate, isn't it? And listen, Georgie, that's just my opinion on it. Listen, it's my opinion on it. I'm not moving from that opinion. And listen, he won't be here this time next year, so don't worry about it. You're only delaying the inevitable. Moving on, lads. I don't want, without getting into, you can if you want to throw out names of transfers and stuff like that. But there's been a lot around Liverpool because a lot of people have thought, well, United have got the Champions League now, they're going to go absolutely crazy in the transfer window. They're linked with Jadon Sancho, they're linked with Jack Grealish, are the two kind of ones that keep throwing in there all the time. Chelsea are obviously Werner, they have Ziyech, they're looking at Havertz. You know, we don't know what City are going to do, although Ferran Torres looks like he is he is going to be a Man City player. But Alex, I'll come to you first. Is there any reason to show any concern with regards to Liverpool's transfer policy as of today, whatever it is, the 28th of July?
Yeah, it would be nice to see some kind of. I mean, we've seen a couple outs already. It would be nice to see a couple of ins. If, for example, it would be nice if we just slapped down a little deal to get Ryan Bertrand in the club. For me, that would cause a lot less headaches for Liverpool if Robertson's ever out. I mean, I've said this as soon as we were linked to him, and there's still a big part of me that doesn't think we'll get him. But I just want Thiago. That boy is a hybrid between Coutinho and Alonso. I've said it before. The pings on him. Oh, we need to get him in. And if we got him and Bertrand, I'd be over the moon with the conditions as they are. Like someone said earlier, obviously with the COVID situation, it's massively affected our recruitment kind of list. So I think we have to keep up with the likes of City spending. But we don't buy stars. We kind of mature them into that. And I think if we can get someone like if we can completely go against what we stand for, basically, if just for this once, and get Thiago in and Bertrand with loads of experience, then I'd be a happy man, I've got to say.
A few people there are saying, they've mentioned Thiago's name and just saying Thiago was 29 and they pass on it. Someone else says, 29, you're still at your peak. It's a strange one. I don't know. The football terrace, I don't believe. There might be Terry. He says, we're coming for you, boys. We don't need to live, Terry. We're grand where we are, pal. Don't worry about it. Bizzo, for you...
Go for a swim.
For you, Bizzo, people are out there going, we should be signing this, we should be signing that, we should be doing this, we should be doing that. And listen, when you sit down and realistically look at it, Liverpool have lost Ian Lovren, they've lost Adam Lallana, Nathaniel Klein his contract won't be renewed, he's being released. We don't know what's going to happen with the likes of Harry Wilson. There's a couple around, Shaqiri's being rumoured, Origi as well. But there's no point in panicking now. It just seems that people want stuff absolutely instantly when it comes to, like, the season's over. Instead of enjoying it, 24 hours later they're going, oh, that doesn't matter. Sign. It's a bit ridiculous, Bizzo, I'm going to say it.
Yeah, I think there's an expectation as well, because we've won the league. They want to see marquee signings and these superstar players coming in as well. But I genuinely don't think we'll have much activity in the transfer market for next season. I think obviously we've got rid of a couple of players and freed up a bit of space to add a bit of depth and maybe a bit more quality in those spaces for depth. But I said this on the last time I was on the show. Especially with the front three, you're not going to see any change there, because you're not going to be able to entice a really good player to come to the club and sit on the bench all season and hope that the likes of Mane, Salah, Firmino have a dip in form or an injury comes in for one of them, where they can step up to the plate. And I think Origi's comfortable in that position. I think Minamino's slowly, gradually being brought into the team as someone that can fill that role as well. I agree with the Thiago rumours. I'd love to see Thiago there, because that would add a bit of class into the depth in the squad, especially in our midfield as well, which I think is already quite strong, but he would definitely add to it. And then someone to back up Robertson and potentially another centre back maybe. But other than that, I don't have any problems with it. And our transfer policy's always been quite shrewd, really. Like we won't pay out of our arses for a player like Werner or Kai Havertz or anything like that. We can get linked with them, but at the end of the day, we're not going to pay Timo Werner 250 grand a week or 200 grand a week to sit on the bench and come on when Salah's had 60 minutes or come on when Mane scored twice, that kind of thing, in my opinion, because he'd be one of the highest paid players in the club and he wouldn't even be starting up front for us.
Yeah, There's a comment in here that says Thiago being 29 is irrelevant. Silva is 35, Fernandinho 34, Milner 34, Hendo's 30, Wijnaldum's 29. Age doesn't matter. If a player is good enough, he's good enough. That's a very fair point, but a lot of people do point to Liverpool's policy with regards to signing players in around 28, 29. It rarely happens. I think, when you look, Ranier Clavin was there in that mould. Of course, James Milner was about 29 when he joined Liverpool as well. But I think you're right. I think if they're good enough and they have the class that you think they have, at the price, especially with Thiago, I think it's a bit of a no-brainer for me. Grizz,
Yeah,
I just think the Sorry, go on.
I was just going to say to you, I'm of the belief Liverpool will sign 3 to 4 players during this window. Are you going to disagree with me?
Yeah, I'd say we're definitely going to bring in 2 or 3 players. But just going back to the Thiago thing, and a lot has been said about FSGs and their policy. I don't think FSG's policy is set in stone. I think FSG's policies, as we see over the years with a lot of things, is very adaptable as they go along, and they assess the situation and what needs to be done. So they haven't always bought young players and then sort of this Moneyball policy doesn't necessarily mean buying young players or cheap players and selling them on. It just means the best deal out there. That's what Moneyball means. The best, try to go get the best deal possible. And if this Thiago deal can make sense to the money men and to Klopp most importantly to Klopp in terms of what he can get out of Thiago, then it makes sense. We've bought Milner at the same age, even though it was a free transfer, but there's no such thing as a free transfer. The lad cost us, his wages, wouldn't be anywhere near what Thiago would want. So Milner's not done bad, has he? In the last 4 or 5 years. So in terms of that, I don't think there's a set, policy per se FSG have got. I think it's just been drummed into by media and the like, sort of FSG, this policy. You've got to remember there's a difference now where FSG were buying players to sort of make us this good, get us to this point. Now we're at that point. We need a different type of player that's going to maintain our level at this point. And to maintain our levels, we need the best now as opposed to potential. And FSG are smart, and Edwards is smart, and Klopp is smart. So now, in my opinion, COVID has smashed all our transfer plans. We had some big, massive plans. I know that for a fact. But we will still make very, very clever buys, and we're not going to stand still. We're not going to let everyone else strengthen and just stand there and watch them. We're far too intelligently run. We're far too efficiently run to let that happen. So it's loads of panic stations, but not from me. And I definitely will bring in 3 players minimum.
Yeah, I think 3 is a prop. 3 or 4, I think. Terry's spending his own money now.
In that.
Bastard. Liverpool will buy players, in my opinion. He could have just texted me, I would have read it out. Liverpool will buy players, in my opinion. However, if they don't, next season will be very interesting. Stro, I'll come to you on that one. I'll put it to you. Liverpool signed nobody, right? Of any massive note. I'll give you a left-back cover and a 4-choice centre-half, just for argument's sake. How confident would you be going into next season if they'd done that?
I think it's difficult not to be confident. Look at what we've done this season. The only time my confidence would dip is if there's a big injury to a Van Dijk, a big injury to one of the front 3, and then we're having to rely on, Origi will go down as a legend for the goals that he scored. Barcelona, obviously he scores every time we play against Everton. And then
it's in his contract.
And then the one against Tottenham in the final. But yeah, it's hard not to knock the confidence. We're unbeaten at home for the past 3 seasons, 196 points in the past 2 seasons, 99 points this season, club record total. Most away wins equaled our club record. We just seem to be knocking down these records as they go. The only time I would be uneasy is, like I said, if there's a big injury to a player. And listen, you look at the port this season to Manchester City. I think I'm probably the most critical out of anyone on YouTube or anyone on radio and stuff like that. I've been going for Pep Guardiola because the fact he didn't replace Vincent Kompany, for me, was Manchester City standing still. would they have lost the title to us this season if they replaced him? I still think they would have, but it wouldn't be that much of a gap. He's lost more games than Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. What does that come down to? It's his defence wasn't good enough, and that's the only thing that slightly worries me. Is do I think we'll stand still? No, but if we don't sign anyone, if we have a big injury, I think it will be difficult.
Yeah, it could be. And listen, it's the same for anybody. You know, you get big injuries, and it does make it difficult. But I think there's a lot made of transfers and what you do to improve and stuff like that. But I don't go along with the argument that transfers automatically improve you. You know, and they can make you worse because you bring players in and they're just stockings. Like, you know what I mean? There's no point in them playing for you. But I don't think they automatically improve. You know, it's like, sign 4 players. Well, no, you don't really. Comment here, with Zaha available for 40 million and Thiago for 35, which is 75 million altogether, with Jones and Williams breaking through, I'd be happy with those transfers. Your thoughts, Alex? If I gave you Thiago and Wilfred Zaha with Jones and Nico Williams coming through, would you be happy? I think you would.
Yeah, I mean, I would have been happy with just Thiago. I think Zaha is just an added bonus there. I've never even taken any links to taken any links that we've ever had of him seriously, because it's never really been on the table. But obviously he's a class player, but very unlikely. But obviously, I mean, yeah, Thiago's the one for me though. Let's get him in the door soon as
25
possible.
25 mil apparently as well.
25 mil. It's an absolute no-brainer.
Who?
Thiago's apparently available.
Oh, 25. Sorry, I thought you said Zaha was going for 25. I was like, what? Sorry, I was distracted by this. I was distracted by the comments in this chat. This chat is mad, isn't it? Absolutely insane. Yeah, it's very funny. It's brilliant. Keep it going. But go on, Alex.
You getting a cut there, Gav, from these tonight, or is Terry?
No. I said he should keep it all and treat himself to something, wherever that is. But no, I'm not taking anything. But the chat is unbelievable. I have to say, it's outrageously good. They're all mental. But go on, Alex. Sorry for interrupting you.
I think they keep calling me bloody Hey Arnold because I got these headphones the other day.
Do they? No, I think they're
calling me Hey Arnold. I'm pretty sure.
No, I think there might be someone in the group with the name Arnold. There could be. But then again, I really want it to be.
With these headphones, I do look like Hey Arnold.
Well, I have to say, I really want that to be the case now. I don't want an Arnold in the group. I really wanted to be calling you Hey Arnold. Yeah. I'm being honest with you.
Good show though, Hey Arnold. One of the better cartoons, to be fair.
Go on. Yeah, what do you think?
Sport-based. Wait, what was the question? Do we think? Thiago. Do I think it will happen? I'm like 65% sure it will, but the 35% of me is skeptical, as you should be when you're linked with these big names a lot, which we are. So, yeah.
Okay, I'm definitely calling you Arnold from now on. I don't care if that's reference to you or someone in the group. I really don't care. Question for everybody, just quickly. Stro, yes or no? Do you think Liverpool will sign Thiago? Yes or no?
Are you sure you want to come to me last time? Because you were on the show and Alex was on the show when I was asked about will we sign.
Yeah, I said 9 out of 10 for fuck's sake.
No, come on. I want a yes or no from you, Stro. Do you think, David Wright asks, do you think Liverpool will sign Thiago? Yes or no? So yes from you. Grizz, yes or no?
You know my answer. Yes.
Okay, Bizzo, for you?
Yeah, 100%.
If Grizz says yes, that makes me like 75, 80 now instead of 65.
Okay.
He's got something under his sleeve.
And Arnold, yes or no for you? It's going to stick, brother, I'm telling you.
Arnold, yeah, absolutely. Why not? Arnold, pipe down, love it.
You just need a little blue cap.
No, I mean, I'm looking around as if I need one. There's nothing in this room.
No, so a lot of you are very confident. Listen, I've been very, very hopeful on it. The only thing I would say is if the reports that came out today are true with regards to Bayern Munich now naming some sort of price, it would make me a little bit sceptical that why are they coming out and naming a price if there's already negotiations going on and Liverpool are very close. They don't need to name that price if they're already in some sort of negotiation. We'll have to wait and see. My fear is Thiago is Gini's replacement. He wants both, says Ramaja. Grizz, is there an argument to say that we bring in Thiago and Wijnaldum stays exactly where he is?
Is there an argument for it? Did you say? Or
Yeah,
against
because
it?
people automatically think that Thiago comes in, Genie goes. I'm not quite on
No.
that
No, I'm
on
not.
that
I'm not.
boat.
I'm not. I'm not quite on that boat either. Look, my opinion. There's plenty of players leaving without having to mention Gini as one of the players that's leaving. So you've got the likes of Grizz, who I don't see having a long-term career at Liverpool.
Yeah.
You've got, obviously, we know Lallana's going, Shaqiri's off.
Gone. Brighton player now.
Jones, sorry, yeah, Shaqiri's. Sorry, what's the other one? Curtis Jones, a young lad who's been sort of talked up. But Klopp does that. Klopp does talk up his youngsters, and that doesn't necessarily mean automatically he will play them. He's done the same with Brewster. He's done the same with many others. He talked up. I remember. What's the left back?
Larucci.
Oh, no, the other one.
Nico
Nico
Williams.
Williams.
Nico's
left
right.
back, lads. Left back.
Oh, Adam Lewis.
Adam Lewis. He spoke up very well about Adam Lewis and then didn't play him. So I agree. Curtis Jones has signed new contracts, brilliant potential, shown great signs of improvement. But I don't think he's at that stage, at that level where he can sort of demand a place in this 11 every week. Thiago does that. Thiago is a player that comes into the team and improves it. He enhances Gini's game. He enhances Fabinho's game, Hendo's game. So it's not a matter of, we need to lose one to get one. But Gini's contract situation makes for good conversation and debate. And, we've got to put the question out there. Then if Gini refuses to sign, because from what I had heard, he had verbally agreed it months ago. He was absolutely just about to sign, and I don't know what's happened since. He hasn't signed. Well, we do know what happened since he hasn't signed it. And if he hasn't signed it, and if he's free to talk in a couple of months to other clubs, then you get to a stage where you don't want an Emre Can situation. Now, I don't know if Liverpool's hierarchy will let another Emre Can situation develop. And if that's so, Gini will go for the same amount of money we get Thiago in. Now, if you're asking me, is that a good thing? No, it's never a good thing losing a great player like Gini. But overall, I wouldn't grumble, in my opinion. But that's just my opinion at this stage. I wouldn't grumble if it was a not a straight swap, but you know what I mean, a swap per se in terms of Gini out and Thiago in. I'd be happy with that because I think Thiago is elite level.
I don't think anyone's going to leave me.
I think I think Wijnaldum is elite level of what he does as well, though. The football terrace says, Terry again, great. He definitely doesn't trust us. He's watching every fucking second of this. He's just waiting. He's waiting for us to set this on fire, and we won't, but it's grand. He can trust us. But he says, great show, lads. He's at the channel, very proud. Listen, thanks a million for letting us on, Terry. Terry is before I go on, Terry's a top fella. He absolutely, like, when he presses R on his phone, rattled just comes up straight away. It's the first word on the predictive text that comes up when he's sending any sort of text. But he's a top fella, and I think he's brilliant. He's a United fan, but I don't hold that against him. We're going
for chicken and chips next weekend. Should be fun.
Nice. Now Terry is a top fella, and for him to turn around and just go, yeah, lads, you just host that and walk away. Fair play to him, absolutely fair play to him. And David Gardner says, Gunwood, Pogba, Bruno. They don't call Mason Greenwood Gunwood, do they, please?
Yeah, they do.
And did he reference them as Avengers? This is amazing.
Jerry loves it.
I must watch this more. This is unbelievable. But Biz, I'll come to you. Like you've just said there, I don't think anyone leaves with regards to Wijnaldum. I think there's a really good show for Liverpool to look and go, Thiago, 2 or 3 years, 25 million, no-brainer, get him in, and he's a different, like we talk about, the different aspects of us, our front three, and does Origi fit, and we need this sort of player. Could it just be a case of Thiago comes in and he's just something different to what we have there, and it's a squad game, and it's another element to our play?
I think with the squad that we've got now, they're in an era now where, if you went anywhere else, it'd be such a different path for your career and the potential to not win anything, or be in anywhere near as caliber of a squad as what you're in right now. So the team all look like they're they're in harmony. They all look like they're best mates with each other. They all celebrate with each other. They all hang around with each other outside of anything to do with football as well. So I just can't see anyone moaning or grumbling that they're not getting enough game time. Genie especially, I think Genie plays enough to be content and happy in that squad. And I think if you bring a Thiago in, it's just adding class to the team. And I think that's one of the transfers that you should definitely be looking at. You should definitely be looking at adding in just a touch more class.
With Gini, it was not more so, from what I've been told, like, it's not more so the sort of game time. He knows he's an integral part of Klopp's setup. I think it was more sort of the length of deal that he's been offered. Right. Obviously, it being his last big contract.
Yeah.
You know, he wants security, and obviously FSG being sort of the businessmen they are. I'm still pretty certain that Gini is staying. Gini's not going anywhere. I know there's a lot of panic setting and sort of, especially with the links to Thiago. I know a lot of the journals are saying it's linked to see if someone goes. I firmly don't believe that, but let's see what happens.
I still think he signs a deal, and when you look around and you think Curtis Jones is a brilliant prospect, but he's not. Yeah. It's very rare a player comes in, especially into the centre of midfield, and starts just running amok at 18 years of age. He's going to need time. Yes, he's being given a new squad number, but he's probably looking going, if I can get 15 appearances next season or 20 in all competitions, I'd be delighted. You know, Milner is not getting any younger, although he will run around Melwood 80 times more than everybody else when they come back on August the 15th. But he's not getting any younger. And all the players, no matter how fit they are, they pick up niggles. And you've seen it with Milner since the COVID break. Little niggles. Takes a little bit longer to get back. You know what I mean? Henderson has a lot of football in his legs over the last 2 to 3 years. Fabinho has had 1 or 2 injuries, and you've seen him being slow coming back. You have Keita still has to prove himself a little bit. So there is definitely room for another bit of quality in there to cover. And I'm not saying Thiago is a cover player, but overall, in the overall scheme of things, to cover different situations as they arise, and they can arise with those sort of players we have. Same again, Ramija, I hope I'm saying that right, Hines, says, if we want to sign big players, I'd sell Origi for 40 million. I love him, but he's not Salah or Mane. We need competition for the front three. Alex, Divock Origi gets a fair bit of bad press. You know, he's scored some massive goals for Liverpool, but he just seems when he starts a game for Liverpool, it doesn't quite work for him. Do you see him going anywhere this summer?
I'd say it doesn't quite work for him when he's on the left. I think when he's up front, I was at Anfield for the League Cup game, and he scores 2 goals and saves the game for us. So he's much more effective down the middle. Realistically, I don't think we are going to buy another striker. And in that case, for one more season, if we have to go with Origi and Brewster as our backup strikers, then I'd be happy with that for a season.
Okay.
I would.
Stro, would you be happy with that?
To bleed in Brewster for sure. Bags man.
Look at this carry on. If someone donates £100, I will jump on. You're not coming on.
Jesus,
you're not coming on. It's not happening.
Where's the demand for that, Terry?
Nah, he wants to celebrate the double with us. The European Cup and Premier League.
I'd say take your Liverpool jersey off. The new black Liverpool night jersey you have, Terry. Take that off and stick your United one on. And if someone, I don't know, you come on if you want. No one has to give 100, but if that's your deal, that's your deal.
I'm going to hop off a bit so you can come on.
Oh, Grizz is legging it, so you can come back on, and you look very similar.
I wish I was legging it. My legging it days have long gone, Gav. Calm down.
Yeah, I have so many stories about long days gone. Remember the time you nearly played for, was it Pakistan in the cricket?
And Leighton Orient in the football.
Leighton Orient, and you once done your back in running home from school with all your medals. That right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
But that's another story for another day.
It is. I have some brilliant stories. Grizz is just amazing at stories. But Stro, I was coming to you there, and I can't remember what I was going to say because Terry wants £100. He's holding the internet to ransom. But what were we saying? Origi and stuff like that.
Henderson Ballon d'Or.
Yeah, it doesn't quite work. It doesn't quite work for him, Stro. Do you see him going anywhere? Honestly, do you see him going anywhere?
It wouldn't surprise me if he left. It wouldn't, because, listen, I think his dad came out with a comment basically saying that he needs more game time for his career and stuff like that. So if it's not this season, or if it's not this summer, it could be January, it could be next summer. But I think he's definitely going to go at some point. Would I let him go this summer? given everything that's happening with our transfer issues and coronavirus and stuff like that, no, because listen, he
I just don't
still
think.
proves he can come on
I
and
just
score
don't think
goals.
anyone. I just don't think anyone can give us 25 million for him, over 25 million, which we want. I think we'd
Yeah,
snap
that's
their
what I
hands
mean.
off. Yeah,
It just
I think they
doesn't
snap their
make any
hands off.
sense.
That's the only reason, though, because I know, and I've got so much fond memories, and we all love Origi. He's going to be a cult. I think it's unfair to call him a cult hero. He's just, he's going to go down as a legend, right? But his all-round game just doesn't suit us, man. His all-round game is not made for us. You can see when he's playing, the fluidity in our attack is not the same. And I think we've seen enough of him to sort of, gauge that opinion now. I definitely don't like him on the left. I get what Alex is saying. He's much better through the middle, but still, that through the middle, you have to be. I hate comparing him to Bobby or anyone to Bobby, but you've got to be one of the most intelligent footballers to play through the middle for us. Simple. And Origi has, whilst he's got the physical attributes, his game intelligence is just not even a third of Bobby's, and that's where it struggles. You can see sometimes the frustration in Mo and Mane when they're playing with him as well. So I think it would be best for parties if he left, to be honest with you, because he does need more game time. He deserves. He'd be a brilliant striker for Aston Villa, Bournemouth. You can see them scoring loads. Well, not Bournemouth now, but do you know what I mean? Like Sheffield United, Crystal Palace, yeah. Get 40 million off them.
But I don't think he'd want that move though. I think if you offered Origi to stay with us for another season and play how he's played the last year, or move to Crystal Palace, I think he'd stay with us every single time.
But that's one of my criticisms of Origi, his ambition.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I get
ambition.
That.
I want my striker to be smashing the door down, wanting to play
trying to
and
get in
prove
that
himself
front
when he's on the
three.
pitch. Every time he gets an opportunity, the goals flatter. The goals flatter his overall performance. You think to yourself, he can do so much more, but he'll get you a goal. Just like the other day, what a fantastic goal. But he was fucking cat's piss for the rest of the game, man. He was awful. Do you know what I mean? But that's just my opinion on him.
No, I agree with that. That's a fair point.
Come here. Stephen Somerville says the day trippers have taken over, you rival fans. We haven't quite. We'll give it back. We've taken over for an hour, so we will give it back. We've made that promise to Terry. With solicitors' letters and all sorts.
Change one of his passwords.
I had to go down the local police station and sign an affidavit to say I will give it back to him after at about 11:15, which is fair enough. But Biz, I will stay with you because, we're all talking about, Origi and Grizz is talking about his ambition. He's happy to sit on the bench and stuff like that. And maybe the money won't be right, but a couple of people have mentioned Minamino there going into the front three and kicking on next season, but it's all very well selling Origi, but who do you get to replace him? Because, like you said, it's very hard to break into that front three. It's nearly impossible to oust one of them. It'd be very difficult to find the quality of player that can complement them in a unit of four where three play every week, and it's near on impossible to find someone that's good enough to back them up, that's willing to know that they're going to back them up, i.e. Timo Werner.
Yeah, that's exactly what I mean. Like there isn't, and I can't even think off the top of my head who you could potentially bring in that's going to be happy to spend the majority of the season sat on the bench, and that's why I think going back to sticking with Origi, I do think my opinion is that Origi will stay, and I think Brewster may get a look in potentially, but I can't see the only thing I was thinking was if there was any way of getting Coutinho in on loan or something like that, but I think the chances of that are very far fetched. I think his days are probably numbered for coming back to us. But it's a very difficult one because there isn't anyone that's. I don't think there's any footballer that would be happy to go into transfer talks and be told, listen, you're going to be sat on the bench unless there's a dip in form, an injury, or
they will if they get the right money. Yeah. And you see, the problem with Liverpool's, when I start a sentence with the problem with Liverpool's, people jump down your throat. The thing with Liverpool's contracts is that they're performance based, so they're heavily performance based. So you get a basic, but goals, assists, wins, trophies, they all added up, and that's why Liverpool are paying out so much over the last 2 to 3 seasons, because they've got so far in European competitions, won them, and won a league title while they're at it. So I think
that's how they should be,
the
though.
issue. Yeah, absolutely. Like, you go to work, you get a basic wage, and you get a bonus at the end of the year if that's the case, if you've earned it.
Yeah, exactly.
But let me see. Gaming Engine says, Terry, this show is deluded without you. Thanks for that, mate. That's exactly what we were looking for. So
he's probably a United fan.
Perfect. Absolutely perfect. No, I think we're having a fair enough chat with regards to it. Alex, just going away from Liverpool for a minute. Who do you see making the most big, I suppose the biggest splash in the transfer market during this window?
City are already making a big dent in that, aren't they? I think they got Ferran Torres for 27 mil today.
22 with add-ons.
22, yeah. All right, Gav. Yeah, so...
Just letting you know, bud. Relax, Arnold, will you?
Wow. What is going on with this Arnold chap?
Don't know. It's actually nothing to do with you. I've realised that, but it's stuck now.
Oh my Christ. I can't even remember. Yeah, so Man City obviously will. Man United obviously will. Hint, hint. And Chelsea have already as well in a big way, but just not defensively. I think 10 games into the season, we're really going to see, from all this spending in the transfer window, we're really going to see who's about it and ready to challenge with us. And then I guess the rest will kind of fall by the wayside. But I'm expecting City to be right up there with us. I mean, I say right up there with us. We were 25 points clear at one point, but, second.
Okay. Stro, for you, United, Chelsea, City,
Hey,
anybody else?
No, I think the obvious one is City, because listen, we were talking about the whole move to obviously Kirby being stored and stuff like that. I just want to see if we can basically put the Kirby's name under a sponsorship deal and get away with it like Manchester City did, and hopefully have a bit more suspending the transfer kitty. So, but City, because listen, they've not got FFP's been relaxed for a season, so they're going to throw absolutely everything at it. Especially if they don't win the Champions League this season as well, when they're probably favourites. If they don't win that, they're going to throw every bit of money imaginable to win both. Manchester United, I know that they're going to be spending money. I know that they are spending money at the moment. So they're going to throw everything at it, because listen, they finished third, which is a phenomenal achievement for Solskjaer. And yeah, some United fans think they can really challenge. I think there will probably be another season before that, but you can tell that the steps are there for them to start to rebuild. Chelsea are just going absolutely balls to the wall. Obviously, Ziyech, Werner, Havertz. So, but yeah, it's City for me are the ones who are going to be pushing us.
Okay, Grizz, just looking slightly below that top four and stuff like that. Is there anybody else you see making a big push? Because we spoke on our show the other night about Everton and how hard of a job Carlo Ancelotti has there, simply because the amount of money they spend on wages compared to income is off the charts. And then they have a manager that needs money and stuff like that. But can you see the likes of Everton doing something, or Wolves pushing on a bit harder? What can you see in this window that may push them from, mid-table or 7th, 8th, and pushing them? I'm trying to push a top four, because there's always a spot there. Somebody always falls out and gives you a chance.
Yeah, just like we discussed on the other day on our pod, and what I said about everyone thinks this is going to be a dead window. It's not. It's just going to be a clever and smart window. That's the difference. I'd still expect loads of deals, just the value of deals, sort of, the actual amounts in terms of how expensive deals are will be, less, but, a number of deals will still go through. And Wolves have been very clever in the market so far. They've got very good links with agents working for them. There will no doubt be players moving in there. They're a nice club moving very progressively upwards. And he's a top coach. How he's still at Wolves, I don't know. But, he seems like a very loyal man. He's a top-class manager who deserves to be... I am in it. I'm about to... Yeah. He shouldn't be at Wolves. He should be at a bigger club. he could easily do a job at any of the other top 6 teams. And they're going to buy. They're going to push on. I expect Spurs to be better. I do. Mourinho's got hella criticism, and we know Mourinho's not the old Mourinho, but he's definitely not dead. We've seen a slight improvement in their results. No, Spurs lads tell me they've seen a massive improvement in results, but absolutely zero entertainment, zero enjoyment of watching themselves. But that's what you get with Mourinho. Do you know what I mean? That's what he's about. He's a results manager, trophies manager. So I expect Spurs to be better. None of them sort of remotely pushing us or getting closer to us. In terms of us, I think City, as Stro said, it's the obvious one, isn't it? City will be our closest challengers. But, whether they can bridge an 18-point gap or 20-point gap is a different story. You've got to remember that 18-20-point gap was because we won the title with 7-8 games to go. Well, we won the title ages ago, really. But, officially 7 games to go, so we slacked. Otherwise, that points total would have been more. Remember that. But yeah, Wolves, Leicester, I think will be decent again. And decent for them is top 8. That's very decent for them. So, but yeah, I think Wolves out of that pack that you're talking about. Southampton, a word for their manager. You got to remember, when they lost, who was they lost to the 9-0? Was it Leicester?
Leicester. Yeah.
Southampton.
Leicester.
And how many clubs would have got rid of their manager? And he's turned it around and made them finish comfortably, just outside the top 8, I think, something like that. A brilliant end to the season with the help of Danny Ings. So Southampton will push on, and Wolves, they're my 2 tips to sort of slightly try to challenge the likes of Arsenal. You know what I mean? In that band of clubs.
Yeah,
outside the top 4.
I've seen someone there saying it looks Willian could be going to Arsenal. I thought he was signing a new deal at Chelsea, but that could have been developing as we're talking. But lads, before we go, I'm not allowing Thiago Alcantara as an answer, okay? So let me see, Bizzo, I'm gonna come to you first, and I want you to give me a name of a player that you feel Liverpool will sign this summer, and you can't have Thiago Alcantara.
No, I think that I can't remember his name, but the Schalke defender we've been linked with today, that seems quite strong. So I'm going to go with him as that's the one.
Yeah,
I'm going to go with him as the safe option because Thiago's the real answer.
Okay, no worries. Now nobody can have that player, so let's go to Stro next. Stro, give me one player you feel Liverpool will sign this summer. You can't have Thiago, and you can't have that lad you've just mentioned from Schalke.
Ben White.
Ben White?
Brighton.
Okay,
Nice.
Cool.
Nice.
Just to help Alex and Grizz out, I'm going to let you know that some people are... Megan has said Lewis from Norwich. Sar from Watford has been said. There was another one there as well up there. Let's go. Harvey Barnes says Georgie won for LCFC. Interesting. He's been linked a couple of times in the last couple of weeks. Georgie, do you reckon he's good enough to play for Liverpool? And that's not me being smart. Do you think he has the potential to go right to the top? Is probably my question, Georgie. Rather than you think he's good enough because he has been linked quite a bit. Alex, you're up next. One player you can't have. Ben White, you can't have the lad from Schalke, and you can't have Thiago. Shoot.
Jamal Lewis, I think, promising left back. I think he came on against us when we played them at Carrow Road at that game, and he, to be honest, did really well. I was impressed with him. He's one of the, I'd say, 3 or 4 players that was higher than the average performing level of the Norwich team throughout this season. Obviously, they started so well and then fell off, but I'd say himself, Buendia and Cantwell, maybe Pucky towards the start of the season, but those 3 in particular are going to attract attention. I think we were very recently linked with Ben Buendia. I was talking to BBC Sport about that recently. So, I think a left back is the priority for me, so I'll go with Lewis. Okay.
And Grizz, I've left you last. Sorry about that, brother. But who are you having?
You've taken all the players, but I'm just 1 second. I'm just going to get his name for you because as go to Bizzo because let me find his name.
I've just asked Bizzo.
Ask him again.
Do you want me to ask him again?
Coutinho.
The Schalke fella. Oh,
Yeah, the
Tell you
Schalke
his
fella.
name.
Tell me who he plays
any
for.
second. He plays for Lanús in Argentina. He's a left back.
Oh, go away, will you? For fuck's sake.
One
This
second.
guy.
Oh man, I can't remember his name now.
He's a left back from Argentina.
He's a left back from Argentina. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. I'm sure we won't be linked with loads of them, and I'm sure we won't sign more than one. We won't sign more than one left back from Argentina during the summer. So if he does sign, we know exactly who you're talking about, lads. Before we go, I want to ask you all where we can find you on social media, all that sort of stuff. Bizzo, I'm going to come to you first. Go.
Yeah, Bizzo Bond on everything. Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, the lot.
Okay.
Nice and easy.
Nice and
Thank you very
straightforward.
much.
I like that. I like that. Stro, where can we find you on social media?
Ryan WhamomdAWF on Twitter, Mr. Bloodstro on Instagram, the Alicia Whamond Foundation, obviously a mental health charity for my little sister, as you can see there, and officially confirmed now, August 2021 is the official charity football game, which you'll see people involved in here. So yeah, make sure you stay tuned for that.
Good stuff. Alex.
Yes, if you just type in "Hey Arnold," you can find me on all.
Move it, football head.
I don't know where that's come from, but fair
It's
play.
amazing, and I'm never going to forget it.
You just don't fight it; you just let it happen. No, but yeah, exactly. You know that, fella. So yeah, the Cop TV is the Liverpool fan channel where I follow the team home and away. But my own personal account is AGT, and that's America's Got Talent. And I'm always underneath, so that's where you can find me.
Okay,
Alex,
cool.
always underneath. Yeah.
Deadly, yeah. I never realised that. Just under, if you type in AGT, you're just under Simon Cowell. Amazing.
Not like that,
wrong, but we know,
yeah.
you know what I meant.
Not
Grizz, where Hey Arnold underneath Simon Cowell is the image for the show.
Is that
Someone's got to make one of them. Someone Photoshop that.
It doesn't matter. Nobody's watching. I'll cut it out. Don't worry about it. Grizz, where can we find you, my friend?
Wherever we can find you, Gav. You know, me and you tied at the hip. So wherever we can find you at the LFCDaytrippers, at Grizz Khan on Twitter. That's about it, really.
And 90 minutes.
Yeah, why
Don't
not?
put yourself down. The star of 90 minutes. Ranked number one contributor to the 90 minutes this season. Am I right?
Yeah, I was chuffed to bits about that. I'm a newbie as well.
Yeah, you're absolutely floored. You were absolutely amazing. Fair play to you, and well done on the award. Yeah, you can find me on the LFCDaytrippers on YouTube. You can find us on Twitter, Instagram, Spotify, Apple Pods, all that sort of stuff. You can subscribe to us on YouTube. We're starting a big transfer show, myself and Grizz, tomorrow night, which will be on twice a week. But go and subscribe there, lads. It's been an absolute pleasure. It really has. The chat is off the charts funny.
Mad,
like they're just killing each other for no reason, and then they just keep asking.
Someone said, hey Arnold, how many pisses does your mum do a day?
Is that John Motson? Must be John Motson asking.
That's how I order that.
But listen, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thanks a million to Terry for allowing us to go and do this. Thanks to everyone in the chat, because it's so distracting because they're absolutely annihilating each other, but it really is funny. Bizzo, it's been a pleasure. Stro, the same. Alex, the same. Grizz, absolute pleasure. I've been Gav. Talk to you soon. Over and out.
Oh, what the fuck.